Welcome back everyone, my name is Echo. Today in this video we have been given a brand new beta build for Minecraft 1.2 and Mojang have finally introduced a great feature from Java PC and console version, and it's to do with boats and ice, and I'll show you towards the end of the video. Before we go through all the changes, I do have a very happy update for the Xbox One beta. I am being told by Microsoft and Mojang we are to expect the beta over the next 1 to 2 days, and it's currently in cert testing. Now it could fail cert testing, meaning that we won't see it over the next 1 to 2 days, but I have my fingers crossed, my toes crossed, hoping that the beta drops for Xbox players. So beta build 7 is what we're on right now. This has introduced a couple of tweaks, it's introduced a couple of bug fixes, but what I've noticed with this bug fix list is it's getting smaller, which is always positive. This version is 1.2.0.22. That is a lot of builds and testing that they're doing on their end. So you can see here, Minecraft Win 10/Android Beta 1.2 Build 7 tweaks jungle leaves are now transparent on higher end devices when fancy leaves are enabled. Change the sound effects for creeper explosions. That's an interesting one. Now going through all the bug fixes, it says here, the selected item recipe will no longer change when ingredients run out to avoid unintentional item crafting. Thankfully they fixed that, that really did bother me. Several improvements to find items in the recipe book while in creative mode. Made improvements to manual crafting when using a touchscreen. The proper amount of wool that is craftable in the recipe book will now be shown. Crafting and selected items when using a controller will now occur on button press, not release. Creative mode now has a 2x2 crafting grid in the inventory. When an item is selected, tapping anywhere that the item cannot be placed will now deselect it. Search results in recipe book will now show all relevant items, not just craftable items. Controller bump buttons can now be used when navigating the how to play menu. Fixed corrupt icons in how to play menu when using various languages. Fixed a crash that could occur when switching resource packs. The recipe for empty locator maps will now recognize the empty maps as an ingredient. The recipe for the empty locator maps will now appear for the 2x2 crafting grid. Fixed overlapping text on the 3D export screen. Mob attack damage will now be adjusted based on difficulty, which is a good thing. Glowstone will now prevent monsters from spawning from a monster spawner. Thankfully, trees grown with bone meal will no longer fill a trunk with leaves. Fix the hitbox for stairs. Fix corrupted end portal textures. Blocks affected by gravity will no longer push mobs or players into the ground. Fix the paper doll on the pause menu being scaled incorrectly. Iron pickaxes will now mine at a proper speed. The cancel button will no longer overlap the progress bar when downloading from the store. Replace the icon from the left analog stick to better distinguish from the right analog stick. So a lot of changes in there that I noticed from my gameplay experience. So I got a feeling that Mojang may have been watching a couple of my live streams, specifically the top one. Selected item with the no longer recipe ingredients run out to avoid unintentional item crafting. Something that I did with friends while crafting is, I think I was making like possibly iron blocks. Then it moved on to, I think it was like an iron pressure plate. I kept crafting them because I didn't know when to stop, and it really did bother me. So they have been listening, some great changes in there. They've also made some changes to the retail version, that being all versions, and you can see here, boats will now move faster on ice, and I'm going to show you that. Original music pack will now be imported properly after downloading and no longer causes the game to crash. Guardians and Elder Guardians laser attacks can now penetrate armor to damage player. The sneak button on controllers can now be used to get out of boats. Finally, plus added a tooltip on screen for how to dismount. Squids will now spawn properly in oceans. Creepers start hissing a bit earlier now. Good. Slightly decreased creeper explosion damage. That's always good. Nether portal blocks are now breakable in creative mode when the default game mode was survival. So there are important changes to all versions. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into a game. I'm going to show you some of the basic changes, and then you guys can do some testing. Before we jump into a game, in the last beta build, they introduced a great feature, mainly for the low-end devices. So if you experience a lot of lag, do exactly what I do. Go into settings, scroll down to your video, scroll down a little bit further, and you're going to come across this, which is plutonium mode experimental. So what this does is it reduces lag a lot. A lot of people who tested this in the last beta build said when they had this enabled, a lot of their lag had been removed. Now again, it's experimental, so expect this to be updated as the beta builds and the final version is introduced. But going to a very simple flat world that I created, again, a couple of changes were to do with the ice. A very, very important feature actually, because you can use this for going on long distance. Trust me, it's absolutely fantastic. Now they also made, I believe, these transparent, I'm guessing. Apparently this is one of the changes that they did. They made jungle leaves transparent. I mean, it doesn't seem like a big feature, but in case you were using jungle leaves and they weren't transparent, that's something that they have introduced. So I made a little bit of a testing thing here, because previously on Pocket Edition, when trying to use a boat with ice, you literally moved like this speed, even though you were on ice. Now you're on ice, guys. You can literally travel hundreds of blocks in around about 30 seconds. Now, I tested this on Minecraft Console Edition, and for this to work right, we went 500 blocks, I believe, in 15 seconds. So if you look at the bottom right, you guys will notice that my position says 92535. Now, I'm pretty sure that this is 100 blocks long that I created it. Look how fast we can go 100 blocks. So as you can see there, we instantly traveled. Oh, we got ourselves a sheep. We instantly traveled 500 blocks. So that wasn't a thing previously for Minecraft Pocket Edition players. So now you can use, I'm not sure if it's just ice or packed ice as well, but ice variants. The one that you get in like the, what are they called, ice bike biomes, you can use them for traveling really fast. So go and test it. If you guys build anything in your survival worlds, show me. I would love to see. So I'm grateful that they've started to listen to the community a little bit more, because of course ice is a great feature. Why take away something that players really did enjoy? So this should be available on all versions, because as the changelog explained, it does say for the retail version. So we'll do it one more time, pure and simply because I love doing this. Okay, we kind of messed up there. This is the only problem, is you can really, really easily mess up. Okay, there we go. Now, as you can see, we instantly traveled like 100 blocks in no time at all. So that's this beta build. Again, hopefully the Xbox beta drops today, if not tomorrow, if not 100% this week. Have a great day, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.